Welcome. Before we get started, we want to acknowledge that there is a lot going on in the world right now, a lot. But we are here today to celebrate Prince. It is a special day today, but we're going to wait until after the housekeeping to get into it. And let's get this party started with one of my favorite songs from Madhouse. And if you know your Madhouse, you should know what number this is. But if you don't, it's okay.
So I can tell you this though, whether or not they know what number it is, it's fitting for a particular song we're talking about today.
Yes, very much so. And we have Drea Dances first in the chat. And Drea Dances knows what's going on. It is happy 3121 day today. It's the 20th anniversary of 3121. And it's a beautiful day in the Chi. It's a beautiful day in New York City. How's it in Mississippi?
It's great. We went from 34 degrees 2 days ago to 80. So I always tell people, if you're in Mississippi, if you don't like the weather, just wait a while. It'll change.
Yes. We got Boombox Guru. We got Lisa Williams from H-Town. We got Ron Kayla. We got Raywin. Yes, Raywin, today is the anniversary of Prince's album 3121, and I know you're going to be disappointed because Michael Dean is not going to be with us today. Just want to let you know. And we got Christina from Minneapolis. Oh, this warms my heart, even though this music is really loud because I love it. Oh, my God. My favorite day of the week because of what did Prince do this week. That really means a lot. Thank you so much, Christina. We got Nick Felden from Denver. March 31st. Somebody knows what's going on. Like, forget 3121. No, we're not going to forget 31. We're just trying to be funny. But March 31st is really important too, because it would be 40 years since the release of Parade. We got Andre Staley, what up, though? And I don't think so, but I would love to be surprised. We'll see. I'm going to keep out hope alive.
Keep hope alive. Keep it alive.
Yes, that's right. And yes, I love this Blade Brown. Saw Power Fantastic and felt a mist of dopamine in the air. One of the best songs Prince ever recorded. Power Fantastic. We got RTL 49. Yes, it's going to be a beautiful day and night in Chi-Town. We got Sister Charles from H-Town. Yes, we are going to play in the sunshine today. We got Man Ray 10, Happy 3121, as well as the first Purple Spring weekend. That's what I'm talking about. We got Melvin Rush. We got Chris Bourdain from Columbus.
Bourdain, what's happening?
Yes, we got our timekeeper. We got Rockabosh. I'm getting all excited because this is when the song starts to speed up. All right. It's really low to me. I'm still sick, so my ears are kind of still clogged up. So I don't know. I'm probably loud as heck. All right.
You got that in the club talking loud over the music vibe going on. What'd you say? The drinks cost how much?
Yes. And we got Happy Saturday. I think it's time for me to bring out my fan.
There you go.
It's getting hot in here. Don't you feel it?
That's it.
It's rising. Yes. We got mooches. There we go. We're about to kick it in now. All right. I'm sorry. This is just one of my favorite songs. All right. Detroit is reading the world on this day, 3121 anniversary. I'm sorry the music's so loud, Rockabosh, but I can't help it. We got Mila, My Heart. We got LTKK. Yes, best part of the week is here again. Oh, thank you. This is my comfort show too. Hopefully you're chair dancing or got out your seat and dancing. Yes. Welcome to Pat Confetti. Welcome, Melvin Rush, sunny day in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I want to be like Levi and lay down on my back and play the bass. Amen. Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Oh my God. I'm hot now. Such a fantastic song. And if you know what week we are in, you will know the name of that song from Madhouse. A beautiful day in Minneapolis. Oh my goodness. It is 70 in Minneapolis.
That's a heat wave. They having a heat wave in Minneapolis.
Oh my God. We got Adria 3121 and Parade on My Birthday albums. We got a PSA. Thank you so much, Jamal. For those of you who are joining us while using your phone, you must briefly exit out of the chat to hit that like button, then hit live chat, and you're back in 2 seconds. That's what I'm talking about, Jamal. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And we got Carol out here at the beach. That's what I'm talking about, Carol. Out here out at the beach like Manisa on the Madhouse Records. It is quite warm, but no rain. Yes, we have so much to be thankful for. As C. Lee often says, we are vertical, and that is something to be grateful for.
That's it.
All right. So the sound is choppy. Is the sound choppy?
Maybe it's in the chat, not to me. Yeah, y'all let us know. Did it get better? Did the sound get better? Is it still choppy? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. And it may be, who knows? It might be on my side. It might be on your side. You never know when it comes to the interwebs. We got El Michelle. And just so you know, I'm going to get some shirts made saying no apostrophe. No apostrophe. And let's see. Hey, we got El Michelle. We got Andre Staley. We got Andrew. Welcome. Yes. Power Fantastic is the cut. And this is fitting that Andrew's here from Las Vegas. That Las Vegas residency 3121. We got Heavenly Gains in the house. We got Blade Brown. Yes, Kicking with Grease. Thank you so much for please hit the like button. I love this Rockabosh. Praise and music meets the Delta Blues.
There you go.
And yes, so Raywin is on it. The Prince YouTube channel released a live video from Club Las Vegas on January 2020, 2007. They released that yesterday. And it does have When the Saints Go Marching In Festive vibe, Chris. Thanks for that. And Carol Brooks says, after watching Mr. Christopher and Michael Bland talking about celebration on April 21st at Paisley Park, I'm ready for the parties and the wings. Okay. I have to add that to the playlist because I didn't watch that. And we got, yes, I got this, but thank you. It never hurts to say it twice or 3 times. So DJ Rashida and Ruth are doing an IG live for 3121 today, but also for the GoFundMe of today at 3121, talking all things 3121 and chit-chatting. And so RTL 49, sounds good, sounds fine. Okay, now it sounds good to me. No chopper screw. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Kim, if that had been about 5-6 years ago, I would have had no idea what chop or screw meant. That is how out of the hip hop loop I am. I did not know what chop or screwed meant about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So appreciate that, Kim.
All right. So let's get our housekeeping. We are week 12 of What Did Prince Do This Week? We are here every Saturday at noon Eastern Time. And this is a very slow read of Duane Tudahl's Prince Studio Sessions book series. We are waiting for 87 through 89. We hope. And we're going week to week, not date to date. One day you will figure that out. And we will be reading this week, Wednesday, March 19th, 1986. So if you want to get your books together, Wednesday, March 19th, 1986 through Saturday, March 22nd, 1986. And you do not need the paperback version, but this is the one that me and Sheila has. It has the circle and it has the updated version. It has more pages and all that. Yes, yes, yes. This is where we are in the book, almost halfway. Well, technically a little over halfway, because Duane, one of the things I love about Duane's books is these are the notes right here. Right. So these are all the notes.
You're going to get these notes.
You need those notes, especially for a quote that's coming up. I don't know if it's going to be this week or next week. I can't remember. But I always wonder about this quote that gets quoted a lot. So we're going to talk about it. And these will be archived at Polished Solid as well as at Undine. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications. Please hit that like button like Jamal said. We really appreciate it. The algorithms don't love me at all. So if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up, it would really help spread the word, not just about Duane's book, but also why I'm doing this every single week for Prince's work ethic. It was not magic. It was work. So that is why I'm doing this work every week, to remind myself of how much Prince worked, so I don't need to complain, not one bit. That's right. And yes, 331 is just around the corner. Okay. And yeah.
I was just gonna say, my favorite rendition of 3121, and there are a lot of them that I like. There are a lot of ones that I like, but for whatever reason, I really love the one that he did on BT at the end of the Shaka Khan tribute. Remember when he played, he in the band for the Shaka Khan, and then so he closed that actual BET Awards with 3121. And that is one of my favorite renditions of that. Don't know why, because it's a little bit slower than the other ones that he did. So there's some ones that are faster that I really dig those too. And I tend not to like it when they're slowed down. I would say that She's Always in My Head is like one of the few songs that I like when he slowed down. So yeah, I really love that. So if anybody have never seen that version of 3121 at the BET Awards that year, go check it out. It is really great. All right, that's it.
All right, I'm going to make a note of that, so I'm going to add it to the playlist. And all right, let's see. Oh, Lady Cab Driver said that's also my favorite. Prince killed that. Yes. And LTKK said musicology through 3121 was such a fun era. And that's the reason why it's really important, if you can, to actually log into IG Live later today, because Ruth was involved through that entire run there. So if you want to learn more about that, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing the symposium information with your three sisters. I love that you're all Purple fam. That really means a lot for you to share the information, because I'm really bad. I'm really piss poor actually at social media, if you haven't figured that out. So any help in helping spread the word, I would really appreciate. And Man Ray 10 also says, Sheila, yes, the BET Awards live version of 3121 is stellar. Oh, thank you so much, Carol. Having this chat in class today is so special because the energy in the world is high right now. And talking about Prince Genius in such a high and happy mood is truly power fantastic. Yes. So important to continue to celebrate a man who has brought us so much joy, especially during times like these is when I hold on to Prince more than ever. All right, so this is our hashtag WDPDTW for why does Prince dazzle this way? That's right. And the estate of Prince Rogers Nelson is not affiliated, associated, or connected with the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series. This is an independent endeavor. You should know that, but in case you don't, and our community guidelines are, we choose to be a community even when we disagree. Let me try the tall one. So that might be too tall. And let's get into today. Again, we've already started talking about 20 years today that 3121 was released on March 21st of 2006. I brought out my vinyl just for the collectors in the house or anyone who wants to be a collector, because this is one of the rare gatefolds, and a gatefold is what opens up when you have like 2 records. So this is beautiful. And this is the back cover here. And my go-to song personally on 3121 is Fury. And I had to look at the name of it because I call it Woman Scorn. Every time I'd be like, where's Woman Scorn? Oh, it's not called Woman Scorn. Or Hell Hath No Fury, but just Fury. I was like, oh, that's the name of the song. So I'm really bad sometimes with, but this is actually an incredible record. If you haven't had an opportunity to listen to it, I put the entire thing in the accompanying playlist, or you can go to Prince's YouTube channel and they have a releases playlist section, and you can also listen to it there. An extraordinary record, again, 2006. I would love to hear in the chat, like, what's your go-to song on 3121? Welcome, D68A. And D68 says the Tower Records Midnight Performance. Let's see. Okay, Blade Brown is saying I probably listen to Love the most on that album.
It's interesting that 3121 doesn't get the kind of love I'm about to give, but it really is a album that has no skips for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those where I get, everybody's gonna have a particular song that they go through, but when you said that, it made me realize that I don't have any skips on it. What I will say, what jumps out at me is, and it's actually that and something else, but his Saturday Night Live performance of Fury.
Mm.
The reason it's great. So it's great. That is great. But also it really gives me the Ike and Tina vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so whenever I think about the Fury performance, I think about the Ike and Tina. I can't remember the song that he did after a few years later, but in 2009 from MPLS, Lotus Flower. You remember he did the 3-night thing on Jay Leno. And remember the guy he had playing harmonica? He was from Europe. I can't remember. Yanni is his name. Yanni. He played harmonica for Prince. And so when I can't remember the song that he did, I want Dreamer. When they did Dreamer, he gave me Muddy Waters and Lil Walter, because Lil Walter would play the harmonica all over Muddy Waters' vocals. And if people know anything, the producers at Chess hated that. They hated that Muddy would let Lil Walter play all over. So those were always two major music lessons that I thought that Prince was kind of, like Prince was always giving us these music lessons. So you get the Ike and Tina music lesson with Fury, and then 3 years later, you get the Muddy Waters and Lil Walter music lesson. That's just one of the things that just made me love Prince more. All right, I'll shut up.
Yes. So,
yes, Blade Brown. Beautiful, Loved, and Blessed is that night too, and that was wonderful as well. All right, I'll shut up. Sorry.
All right. So we've already mentioned, I think Raywin already mentioned for us that they've posted Lolita Live from the Las Vegas residency on YouTube at Prince. And then on Ruth's Instagram, there it's announced that both Ruth and DJ Rashida are going to be chatting about 3121 today, Saturday, March 21st at 3:21 p.m. And it's for Addie Durant's GoFundMe. So again, originally there was talk about doing something last week on Facebook, but they've moved that to this week. And this more specifically today on Instagram Live. And you can go to Ruth's Instagram, which is Ruth LESDVA. So again, today, 3:21, March 21st for 3121 at 3:21 p.m. And there's going to be a candid conversation commemorating the 20th anniversary of 3121. And again, we have been promoting this GoFundMe to help Addie Durant get back on her feet. And if you would please contribute $25, $5, $1, anything you like to contribute, it would be really amazing, because that's why Ruth is doing the conversation today. So let's see what we got in the chat here. Go back to really quickly. I love this. So Melvin says, happy 20-year anniversary, 3121. I still play my original release CD. I love that. And Kim said, I played the H out of that Black Sweat video at my Wednesday night party at East Side Lounge back then. And let's see. I love this from El Michelle. Black Sweat all day. Black Sweat actually is one of my favorite videos Prince ever did. I love that video. I also love that video is black and white as well.
Yes.
I love that. And let's see. Lady Cab Driver saying, I'll never forget seeing Prince perform Fury on Saturday Night Live. What a performance. Even 80s Prince only fans were like, okay, I can't front. That was dope.
Right.
Yes, and we got to give a shout out to Tamar during this era. She was incredible. Just seeing, I really love seeing Prince as a sideman, you know, like as a side guitarist. I don't know why, but I really love that. And he was also really into it, obviously, to let Tamar shine. I thought that was extremely generous of him. But like you said, I really loved how the twins and Tamar had that Tina Turner and Ikettes, you know, kind of vibe. It was so cool. Really love that.
That's probably the only time in my life as a Mississippi man I ever used the word fierce. You know, I'm too Mississippi masculine to say fierce, right? But they was fierce. I was like, that is fierce. And you know, something talking about side men made me think about something. I was listening to, so I was going through my Jimi Hendrix, and at the end of my Jimi Hendrix, I have the Band of Gypsies. And I have to keep being reminded that Jimmy doesn't sing lead on all of the Band of Gypsy songs. And so I started thinking about Sly doesn't always sing lead. Jimmy didn't got to the point he wasn't always singing lead. And so I will admit that during this era, the only thing that I was kind of, so I'm one of those people that when I get a Prince album, I want to hear Prince singing. I don't want to hear anybody else singing. But we've also talked about what I call the three phases of Prince. Prince as solo artist, Prince as band leader, and Prince as band member. And I think that this era that you're talking about is not necessarily band leader Prince, but like you say, Prince as side man, Prince as I'm in the band, and you know, which I think really comes out in the Shaka Khan tribute, right? With him living out his fantasy of playing next to Stevie Wonder and playing behind, there you go, Theo, right? And playing behind Shaka. So yeah, I really like that you mentioned that Prince is side man, because I ain't gonna lie, in real time, it wasn't that I wasn't feeling it, but you know, when you go to the show for one thing, you kind of like want Prince all the time, you know, but coming back and thinking about, okay, his heroes, the people that he looked up to, these were all the things that he was doing. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Prince's side man.
I know though that unfortunately I didn't make it to one of the Tamar shows, but I know that my husband did, and it's like one of his favorite, you know, live performances of Prince. But I know that if I would have gone, I would have been so mad if I was on the right side of the stage. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes, you know, you go to a show, and especially if you get there late and you can't get to the front, I always try to go like, who am I going to watch the most?
Right.
You know? Try to like line myself up. And yeah, that actually happened to me recently. I went to go see this dance company, and there's this guy who I absolutely loved, and it turned out he was from Alabama. And I was like, of course he's from Alabama. So I went to go see him first night. I was on the right side, you know, where he was. And I went back to go see him again, and then I was on the wrong side because I don't know, the tickets. I was so pissed, and I was like, I bought the tickets on the right thing there. But then so it's so important to, you know, so like if I would have went to that show, I would have been like, if I was on the right side and Prince was on the left side, I was like, right. That's not good. So yes, for sure. Okay. So LTKK had a question here. To my audiophiles out there, do the synths on Black Sweat hurt your ears sometimes? I love that song, but wish they'd remaster it. I will say that they don't hurt my ears for Black Sweat, but the song where it does hurt my ears is actually Lolita. I don't like those the synth sound. Again, it's just like the recording well, you know, those keyboards from that particular era. And to be honest, I don't really like the 1999 synths either. I feel like they're like just too brash. But that's just me, and I'll leave it at that.
So let's start another unnecessary Prince debate. And this is how Prince fans are, right? Now, I just said that I listened to 3121 with no skips, right? Like I just said that, right? So I'm about to do the most Prince of Prince things, right? Of Prince fan things. The most Prince of Prince fan things. I just said I listened to 3121 with no skips. Now I'm about to tell y'all what's wrong with the album, right? That is the most Prince fan of Prince fan things. But hear me out. I want to know from the chat. Now again, remember I said I don't listen to it. I listen to it with no skips. But since LTKK brought that up, I've always thought this about the album. Black Sweat, Love, Lolita. Those 3 songs. I always thought that it would have been a completely different album and probably would have done even more if all of the synth parts were replaced by guitar.
Mm.
So I want people to think about those 3 songs: Black Sweat, Lolita, and Love. But instead of with the synth parts, all the synth parts being played by guitar. That's the one thing I always wanted to, if I got to meet him later after time, why did you go with synthesizers rather than guitars? Because I just think that it would have, but I also think that what was happening at the time in music, it fit right that era. So the synthesizers fit that era. But I really do think that we're talking about maybe a different kind of guitar and how those things would have made that a little bit different kind of album. That's it. So
yeah, so Chris Bournet's point is really important, actually. So it's intentional that Prince is using these synth parts at the time because it is a throwback to 80s Prince. He was very intentional with 3121 in doing that. But just because he was intentional doesn't mean that I'm going to love it. That's who I am. But I love this idea, Sheila E, of I would have loved that because, like, again, my favorite song off of 3121 is Fury, and it's because guitar heavy. And
I would say this: yes, I agree that yes, you can. It's the throwback, but I would say the difference is in the 80s, the synth didn't overshadow the guitars. Like you can still hear the guitars on 1999. You can still hear the guitars on Controversy. You can still hear the guitars on Dirty Mind. So maybe my point is that maybe in the mix somewhere, if I could have gotten a little less synthesizer and a little bit more guitar, maybe, maybe that. So yeah, but and again, I want to be clear to everybody. I don't skip any songs on 3121. I love 3121, but I just think about how would it have sounded with just guitars? That's it.
Yes. Yes, I love this comment from Kim, actually. Virginia producers riding high in the aughts, Sons of Prince. That's right. Let's see. All right. So we're going to keep it moving because our timekeeper has already, let me actually do this first before. Okay. So we started off today with 12 because it's week 12 of What Did Prince Do This Week. And it's so funny when I was listening to the song because, last week we were talking, the past couple of weeks, I think Sheila has been the drummer. And I just assumed, I don't know why, that today the drummer was also Sheila. But then I was like, oh, nope, it was not Sheila, it's Prince. So I would love for a drummer to come and break down the difference between Prince's and Sheila's playing. Because I know Arthur in the past has said that Sheila has a lighter touch than Prince when it comes to attacking the snare and all of that. And when I first started listening to it, I was trying to get that framework. Well, it sounds a little like he's not, whoever's playing this isn't attacking it as much. So it must be Sheila. And then I look at Prince Falls and go, no, it's actually Prince. So this is, what I consider a true Madhouse song because it's just Prince and Eric leads on this one. And again, we are week 12 of 1986, episode number 164. I cannot believe we've done 164 episodes. We are in our 4th year of What Did Prince Do This Week? And we are only here because of all of you in the chat. You are what sustains this. So thank you for being here. So this week, Prince was in the studio 3 days and he recorded 3 new songs. So I'm going to wait for a second. What 3 new songs did he record this week? See who did the reading in advance. And you should know one of them because that was the thumbnail. And also someone already put in the chat that this is what this week is about. So let's see who's going to come through with what 3 new songs did.
And while we wait for that, I always forget that it was a 2-year break between 3121 and musicology, which shows just how much fun I was having with musicology. Now, I will granted that I was also, while listening to musicology, I was also listening to musicology while at the same time listening to Slaughterhouse and Chocolate Invasion. So on my musicology list, I have all the musicology songs, and then it follows Slaughterhouse. And so I kind of listened to those 3 albums together. So maybe that's why I made those 2 years not seem as long. But, that's looking at it now going like, wow, that's right. It was a 2-year break, but it didn't seem like it. And plus, we was chasing Prince all over the country. At least I was stalking Prince all over the South doing the musicology tour. So that also helped.
Such a great tour. It was an incredible tour. And it's actually, what I found interesting is that was one of the albums that my students in my Prince class actually really connected with was musicology.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was shocked, and one of them was like, why don't we spend more time on musicology? Like, why we just like but it's your musicology. So
I'm here for the musicology. Forget all that other stuff.
Yeah. So luckily, I think I'm going to be able to teach it again. And when I do, I'm going to focus more on musicology because actually I focus more on 3121, but they actually preferred musicology. And I was because I thought they were going to connect more with 3121, but they didn't. So Andre Staley came in first with, and that says what? That says she gets a 21, whatever.
Right.
21, which is today.
Which is today.
Yes.
You gonna marry her?
For
$50 million, I seriously consider it.
That is one of my favorite scenes. Top 3 scenes in that entire movie. I love it, love it, love it. It's something about it. I don't know. I just really love that. All right. So I love this. Musicology is my top 5, and it ain't bottom 2.
That's what I call making a statement there. LTTK done come out and made a statement. He done threw the tape down on the floor. He said, and now what? Go LTTK.
Yeah,
LTTK,
and that's right.
That's right.
That's right. All right. So, okay. This is, we can take our time, Kim. See, look at the previous week compared to this week. And I messed up. I was supposed to read my new songs. I got to go back and change that. So we got 3 new songs. We got And How. So that was tracking, overdubs, and mix. And then we got Power, Fantastic, tracking and mix, as well as an instrumental possible mix. And that says what? Tracking and mix. And then more overdubs and mixes for And How. And then a really important date is March 22nd when Prince does overdubs and mixes for Love Bizarre Live that he recorded only 2 weeks earlier with Sheila E at the Warfield Theater. This is an important day because I watched the Love Bizarre Live again today. And that's the reason why I was a little late because I was like doing the wooden leg and all that. So, yes.
Chop again.
Yes, chop.
Chop one more time.
Yes. It never gets old. It never gets old. Okay. So
wait a minute. Kim, you're right. In 1986, I had to go look up fascist. I did, Kim. In 1986, right after the movie, I had to go look up fascist. I'm like, what's a fascist? So yeah, I learned a new term from that movie.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. Okay, I've said this before. Let me bring out my banner. Here we go. I am going to do a Dear Estate moment for Ricky. Dear Estate, it is so important to do all the remastering, the 4K version, whatever you need to do for Romance 1600 Live, just so we can memorialize and, properly the Love Bazaar live duet at the Warfield Theater, because it is so amazing. It is the gift that keeps on giving. It is one of Prince's best performances, in my personal opinion. He's so happy. He looks great. And it's an amazing, amazing thing to restore. So let's make that happen for Ricky. So let me put my Dear Estate for Ricky. All right. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to my banner. And we miss Ricky, so I wish he was here with us. Okay, Lady Cab Driver.
Go ahead on in, Lady Cab Driver 72. Go ahead on.
I love that. Okay. All right. So let's get started with our first reading of the day, and I will read it because it's a little long. And let's get it started with Wednesday, March 19th, 1986. And how tracking, overdubs mix, power fantastic tracking mix, power fantastic instrumental probable mix, Gap and Boulevard home studio. Can you believe Power Fantastic was recorded at Gap and Boulevard home studio? That is where the magic happened, at the Gap and Boulevard home studio.
And think about how clear it sounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the bootleg we got was clear.
Yeah, it really was. And if that was in Chanhassen, Minnesota. I wish Michael Dean was here just so he could say Chanhassen. I can't remember how he pronounced it, but I loved it. Because I'm from Alabama and we make up our own words. So I really appreciate it. I'm not making fun of it. And producer Prince, artist Prince and the Revolution, engineer Susan Rogers, because I love my Alabama roots, in case somebody thinks I do not. I'm really proud of Power Fantastic, and I thought it was a beautiful collaboration between the three of us. Lisa Coleman. All right. Rehearsals for the upcoming tour were in full swing, and the band was connected on a deeper level once again after some time apart. Prince was not only preparing the Revolution for a potential tour, he was actively recording at his home studio. But so far, he was working mostly as a solo artist and not as the leader of the band. It's funny, we started talking about Prince as a band leader earlier. It was really a special day because it was not often that he would have the Revolution come to his private space at the house, reflected Wendy. Back in the day, he would, but once things got really big with him, his home didn't really end up being the hangout zone like it used to. It was much quieter back in those times. So to all be together in his space was a special moment and not common, kind of a rare moment. There was a basement studio that had a large control room and a medium-sized isolation booth right next to it, remembers Susan Rogers. The piano was upstairs, and it was used for smaller projects. We tried to fit the whole band in there once, but it wasn't big enough for a band. The composition that Prince wanted to record with the band at his new home studio was Power Fantastic, which was based on the instrumental recorded by Lisa and Wendy called Carousel. Power Fantastic was a song that the three of us wrote together, Wendy, Prince, and myself, according to Lisa, and the melody that he put on it was so beautiful. I didn't expect that he would write anything to it, she continues, but then when he was like, yeah, I wrote lyrics to it, I was kind of amazed because I thought stylistically it was a little off. It's kind of jazzy, or I don't know what it is. I didn't think it was really a Prince song. But then when he added what he added and the way we did it, it fit right in. And I was like, yeah, that is a Prince song. The music was written by Lisa and Wendy, recall Eric, but was mistakenly attributed to Prince on Prince's The Hits, the B-Sides album. It was a mistake because Prince knew that it was Wendy and Lisa's, although I think Prince wrote the lyrics for the song. The music and the arrangement was basically Wendy and Lisa's, and we rehearsed the song in the warehouse that afternoon. After rehearsing, he asked if it was possible to do the whole band at the house, and I said, well, I think so. I think we have everything we need, says Rogers. We set up the band with Bobby downstairs on the drums, Lisa upstairs on the piano. We had horns on it, and Prince was singing his vocals in the control room. I mean, let's stop there. I'm going to read this one more time. I'm going to read it really slowly. We set up the band with Bobby downstairs on the drums, Lisa upstairs on the piano. We had horns on it, and Prince was singing his vocal in the control room. Eric, Matt, Bliston, and Wendy would also record their respective sax, trumpet, and guitar parts from different sections of the house. Listening to the version that's on the Sign of the Times Live, you would think that they were all in the same room together. And it's like there's this intimacy about the track that it really comes through musically, but like knowing that they weren't in the same room is just like blows my mind. It's like,
so were they? So my question is, were they in communication via headphones or via house wiring?
That's a good question. That's a Susan Rogers question.
Because it's I will say this, and about where you can't. Well, can you see the little thing over my head, little square thing with the little circle looks like a speaker?
I think so, but I have control on the top, but I've seen it before.
That's when we bought the house, we didn't know it came with a house intercom system. So that's what made me think about that. Is I wonder if they were wired through. There you go, the dial. Like I was wondering if they're wired through kind of a house intercom system, or if they're just going through headphones. Either way, the technology is phenomenal because again, it's a pristine sounding cut.
Yes, recorded at home.
Yeah,
at home in different rooms. All right. Considering that Prince has spent a great deal of time working with Sheila on the Flesh sessions earlier in the year, Bobby Z recorded that he enjoyed being an active part of the recording. My involvement with Parade was meant to be isolated because I wasn't really involved with the record and the film that much, but the upcoming Hit and Run tour was something where I kind of came back into the fold. I really started recording with the band again and everything. I knew that if this was going to be my last hurrah, and if he still wanted me to do the tour, he still wanted me to be in the band, that it was kind of a vote of confidence still, and I was at my best and totally kicked butt. So I think this is a really interesting comment from Bobby Z, who kind of maybe saw the writing on the wall.
Yep. I think, and I'm not being petty or funny. I think everybody saw the writing on the wall except Wendy. If you think about the conversation that Lisa and Wendy had, right? Wendy was like the last one to go, oh yeah, it's over. So I think this Bobby Z quote here is really interesting. Like you said, everybody's kind of reading the tea leaves and reading the room. But it's also interesting the way different people perceive things, right? If we're all in different spaces in our head, we may not necessarily perceive it all the same way, which is just kind of interesting. Not a bad thing, just an interesting thing.
I think that is such an important point that what I find, at least today, is that everybody wants everyone to be aligned, and no one has ever been aligned. I mean, if you were to describe, that's the reason why, like, if there's a crime and people, start describing like what a person has on, like no one ever agrees because, there's perception, like, what we pay attention to. So I don't understand, like, when people get upset when there isn't agreement or alignment, because it can't be like 100%, because we just don't know what's going on in your head, my head, everybody else's head. And also the way that we see life also colors, anything that happens. You may be a glass half full, I might be, a glass half empty kind of person, and our perception can really shift, how we look at a particular set of events. So I do think that is really interesting that, Bobby Z is, it's like, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to kick butt. He has, he still wants me in the band. And someone else might not have that.
And especially if this may be my last rock.
Yes.
And I will say, not to belabor, 3 documentaries that drive that home, which were really, I did not think I was going to love all 3 of these documentaries. Paul McCartney's documentary, Band on the Run, about Wings.
I haven't seen that yet.
If you have not seen, if you have not seen Band on the Run, after his son, Man on the Run, but Band on the Run, which is about him leaving the Beatles and starting Wings, and that, it is a great doc, but it speaks to it, unlike all the other Beatles docs, it really speaks to where each individual of the Beatles were from their perception of why the band broke up. The other one is Kiss Story, the documentary of Kiss. It's a two-parter. I love it. And if you don't know anything about Kiss, here's what I found the most shocking about that one. Would you to believe that Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley were the level-headed people in the group? That's all I'm gonna say about when you talk about everybody on one page. And when I was like, really? These are the two? And that Peter Criss and Ace Frehley, let me say it this way, were not the level-headed people in the band. So that was really a shocker to me. And then the third one, the one I just watched this past couple of days ago, Thank You and Good Night, the Bon Jovi documentary. Because it really talks about the relationship between John Bon Jovi and Richie. Is it Sam? What's Richie's last name? Sambora?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It just really talks about their relationship. And to bring it back to Prince, John and Richie's relationship would be akin to Prince's relationship either with Dez or Andre. Because I think what people forget is that Dez and Andre were solo artists. Dez and Andre, they had no intentions of spending 20 years with Prince. And I think a lot of people get that twisted and they don't understand that even though, let's say Andre may have left under different conditions than Dez, they were never going to be there for 20 years. And so when you understand that relationship, Richie, for the most part, I wouldn't call him a solo artist, but the fact that he and John were together that long, right, was really interesting. So I would say to your point about watch those three documentaries and think about Prince's relationship and what we're talking about with bands breaking up, and you really will see how 4 or 5 people in a room all working for the same goal may not see it the same, and that's not a bad thing. That's just being human. All right, I'll shut up.
All right. So let me go back to where we are. Okay. Because the arrangement had been rehearsed in the afternoon, the recording went smoothly, especially considering that not everyone could see each other. Prince communicated over the headphones, instructing them to spend the first minute warming up, ad-libbing to a peak, and then to quietly resolve that brief section once they heard him whisper, shh. This whole song is pretty incredible, especially with the beginning like that, remembers Atlanta Bliss. That's the noise of the world. It's just crazy and crazy and crazy. And then all of a sudden, it just focuses down. You turn out the lights, turn up the sound, and we're really focused. It's everyone that's listening in the one spot. That's what music is about. And I think that's one of the things that's kind of missing from today is this idea of like deep, dedicated focus. The song was recorded, as I remember, in one take, remembers Leeds, and Prince did a scratch vocal, which he then replaced with his final vocal. The headphone communication helped bring everyone together despite being scattered around his house, according to Lisa. That's a great little peek into what we did. That's how we worked. He would be in our headphone and talk us through it. We needed the unifying voice in the headphones saying, okay, now do this, because we couldn't see each other. So it was really odd. Rogers recalled how the under-equipped new studio provided her a unique vantage point for the recording. The band was all set up in various parts of the house, and Prince was going to be in the control room singing, but there were no headphones for me, meaning Susan Rogers. And this is Susan Rogers. I had to be in the control room with him and also have the speakers off because we didn't want leakage. So that meant he had to sing in the control room with me hearing no music, only his voice. What a place to be. That is where I would have wanted to have been. And we set up the vocal mic in the furthest corner of the control room. He had his headphones on. And we set the vocal mic in the furthest corner of the control room. He had his headphones on and he sang the song from top to bottom, and all I heard was his voice. And it was just heart-wrenching and beautiful. This was a magical moment.
So that answers the question then. They're all listening through headphones.
Yeah.
That's how they hear each other. Because she can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Witnessing such an unguarded and almost intimate display of his talent was different than anything Rogers had experienced before with Prince, because he would normally send her away and record his own vocals. You'd spend hours watching him sing at rehearsal, but rehearsal has a different kind of performance aspect to it than singing for a record. Singing for a record is singing for a smaller delivery system. The size of the canvas is so much smaller. It's like the difference between watching someone paint a small portrait on a postcard versus painting a mural. So really seeing those performance gestures up close and personal. What a moment. Rogers wasn't the only one who felt they'd done something incredible. It was just one of the most stunning songs we ever did, explain Leeds. It shows the sophistication of material, and Prince's vocal on it was just absolutely just spellbinding. That was literally one of the times that we just came out of the studio and we just all had goosebumps. We all really felt that we had just been part of something real, real special. And once and for all, let me reiterate that it's always been assumed that it was Miles Davis that played the muted trumpet on Power Fantastic. Nope, it never was. It was Atlanta Bliss, the amazing Atlanta Bliss. Prince would record some additional overdubs, including his vocals, and an instrumental version of the track was also mixed. The band was also enlisted to record the upbeat and how, which showcased the trumpet and sax of Atlanta Bliss and Eric Leeds, and the voices of Lisa and Wendy on top of Bobby's drumming. The use of a steel drum gives the song a slightly tropical vibe. This relatively fast recording would be revisited the next day. I really want to hear this version of And How. This status, despite the feeling of accomplishment and growth within the group, Prince decided to put the recording of the instrumental warm-up and Power Fantastic on the shelf until 1993. 7 years later, when a version without the intro was released on Prince's The Hits, the B-Sides 3 CD set, the first run-through of the song would be released as Power Fantastic live in studio, 6 minutes and 22 seconds with an extra 55 seconds of Prince's instructions to the musicians. And those 55 seconds are so priceless. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. On the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition in 2020. The 2-minute And How was not released before Prince's passing. The track was expanded 4 minutes and 13 seconds by David Z. and Levi Cecil Jr. and recorded by Javetta Steele and was released in 1991 on the French version of her first solo album. Here it is. And there's a coda. According to Lisa, Joni Mitchell misheard the lyrics for Power Fantastic. One of the funny memories I have of that is that after we recorded it with the band, we were back here in LA, and me, Wendy, and Prince went to Joni's house, and Prince played it for her, and she loved it. She got the lyrics wrong, but it's actually a better lyric. Power Fantastic isn't your life elastic, and that's not the words. It's Power Fantastic isn't your life at last, but isn't your life elastic? That's such a great line. And we were like, oh no, that's not what it is. Despite the comical misinterpretation, the lyrics remained as written. All right. So I will say, when I think of the Sign of Time Super Deluxe box set, the first thing I think of are those 55 seconds and how grateful I am for those 55 seconds of Prince giving instruction to the band. One, because again, it is an example of Prince as band leader. But two, I used to get a lot of jazz box sets. Like there's a Sarah Vaughan box set. I can't remember which one because I have so many. But whenever she would do multiple takes of a song, she would never sing it the same way. Never. Right. So like you have all these takes. But for this particular session, she was actually sick. Like she had a cold. But she was singing flawlessly. So in between takes, they'd be talking, she'd be coughing. It was just like, I was like, I want that for a Prince, you know, like, that's what I want. Like, give me the whole like take. And so like they do that often also with like Miles Davis box sets. You get like, you know, the false starts and all of that. So that's one of the things I really love about jazz box sets, that I wish were included if we have any additional things like that with the Prince box sets. That would be really wonderful.
I agree. I am more so. I like that kind of thing. If I'm watching a documentary, like if I'm just listening to music, I don't like it. So I never replace the Power Fantastic that's on the Super Deluxe with where I already had it, because I just kind of, I'm not as into the rehearsals as you guys are. But in a documentary, like I'm watching a documentary, I definitely want that. Because then for me, I'm really getting to see and hear about Prince as band leader. So I love like the stuff that we got from the European thing, the Love Sexy, what Prince is, look at the shoes, my God. But he talks about and he talks about what Sheila is drumming, and he's talking about don't put yourself to sleep with the drumming. So yeah, I like it, but I like it more in the documentary realm as opposed to like if I'm listening to songs.
That's all I listen to though, Celie. I mean, I rarely listen to the albums. I rarely listen to albums. I mean, there's certain songs like Power Fantastic where I do want to hear the studio, like Ballad of Dorothy Parker. I want to hear the studio version, but 9 times out of 10, I want to either hear a rehearsal or a live version of the song. Almost always. So that's the reason why we're going to take time for another Dear State really quickly. And I'm going to put my banner on here this time for Ricky, Dear State, for Ricky. We would love to have more live rehearsal footage. That would be amazing. All the live rehearsals would be great. That's all I'm going to say. Because I will say it some more on another day.
And the way I get my live fix is after I listen to all the studio albums, I come back and listen to all the tours. I listen to all the tours chronologically. So I still get that feeling of the moment of, oh, this is when I was at the Controversy tour. And then the next one, this is when I was at the 1999 tour. So I'm like you, but I do it that way. And I'll say this, and I want you and the chat to help me with something. So, and I know this may sound crazy to people. Whenever I think about Power Fantastic, I always think about the grand progression. So my question to you and people in the chat, I go back and forth on where I have the grand progression in my playlist. Because it was written in 87, I have it on my Sign of the Times playlist. But because it was meant for Graffiti Bridge, I'll sometimes put it on my Graffiti Bridge playlist. And so I often go back and forth. So if anybody who wants to, I want you to tell me where do you guys, because I go back and forth. I think right now it's on the Graffiti Bridge playlist, but I know that I'm probably going to go back. So I've never come up with a final place. Do I want it on my Sign of the Times playlist or do I want it on my Graffiti Bridge playlist? What say you and the chat?
Well, I think I would probably also put it with Graffiti Bridge only because that's, like in real time when you hear about songs,
right?
Attach it to an era. And I was hearing it around that time, for the like mentioned and stuff. So I would go with Graffiti Bridge. That would be my final answer.
And I know you don't cuss, but just as for a sentiment, when you saw Graffiti Bridge and Prince had all them songs, was you like, where the fuck these other songs at, man? What up, dance the who? The what? Where the hell are these other songs?
See, Lee, this is where I was. No, you're not gonna have Jill Jones singing vocals to somebody. Like, I was so mad. Okay. I couldn't get past that. I was like, why you got her lip syncing to Alyssa Fiorillo or whoever it was? I was like, this is like so petty. And I don't know. I was really mad about that. Like, really mad.
I was mad, but I was kind of like, I don't think that's her. Like, I was like, I don't really think that's her, but okay.
And then the other thing is, I'm sorry, we're getting to a graffiti bridge of like offshoot, but I hated the performance of Shake. Even though we love the Shake button, but I hated the performance of Shake in Graffiti Bridge because there's so many amazing songs on Pandemonium. And I was like, really? So, yeah.
You know I'm Team Shake, so I'm just leave it there. I am the reason why Brother Dean created the Shake button. If you wasn't here, you got to go back 2 or 3 years. But for y'all don't know, see me back in is the reason why Brother Dean. So actually, he's mocking me with the Shake button. For folks don't know, we love it. But the reason Brother Dean created the Shake button is to mock me for being Team Shake, and I'm still Team Shake.
Awesome. So Rockabye says that Prince had Michael Bland overdub drum parts on Grand Progression. I always wanted to hear what the results sounded like. I would love to hear that as well. And yeah, I want to go back to this comment from LTKK. So this only happens, these false starts. You only really hear these false starts. I haven't ever heard it on anything but a jazz box set. You know, if you listen to any Miles Davis, like they'll have, or like John Coltrane, people like that, they will often like start a track because they were recording live in the same room, unlike what was happening for Power Fans.
Right. And we're going to use all this tape. Let's be clear. We ain't record no tape. So just keep going. Do it again.
Yes. So like if you Google, like maybe go to images.google.com and look up Miles Davis recordings in like, you know, from like the 50s, you can see everybody in the same room. And so usually the engineer or the producer would say, take 1 or take 5 or take 12. Oh, actually, I just remember, I just lied. If you get some of the Doors box sets, they have multiple takes, and some of those are hilarious, like the in-between chatter, especially when Jim was, you know, being Jim. So that's another place that you can actually hear some false starts. I think I know they did that with LA Woman, like the whole LA Woman sessions. You can hear a lot of that banter. It is incredible. So it has happened on the rock side as well. Let's see. I love this. Agreed, D'Angelo. Sorry, silly. I shake on out of here.
Hey, Man Ray 10, I will only say this. When the time went on their Pandemonium tour, they played Shake. They could have chosen a lot of other songs, but they played Shake. So there you go.
It's Lady Cab Driver also loves Shake too, C. Lee. So yeah. And then D68 ASA in the Graffiti Bridge script, Grand Progression was sung by Camille. And let's see.
Can you for Sneak 22, can you put my email? Because I still haven't learned how to put it in the chat. Get in the chat. Can you put my email?
Your email?
Yeah, put my email in the chat.
I'll do it later. Just because I don't have it right on it.
Right. No, you're good.
Let's see. Yes, El Michelle. Somebody understands. I am also still mad. Very, very mad about that.
Now I will say this. I will say this about to the point about Graffiti Bridge. Now you good, Sneak. You good, brother. I will say this. And how can I say this? So I like the Graffiti Bridge album. Again, we're finna do the most Prince fans the Prince thing. But I will say this. The Graffiti Bridge album makes me happy that Prince released Purple Rain and Ice Cream Castle separately. Because if I would have had my choice, all of the time songs that's on Graffiti Bridge, I would have had them on Pandemonium. And that's not me saying I don't like Graffiti Bridge. I like Graffiti Bridge. It's just that singing when Graffiti Bridge came out and sing all those songs together, I went, yeah, okay, now I see why he did the Purple Rain and Ice Cream Castles thing that way. It's because I know a lot of people remember there was a lot of people talking about how come all of the Purple Rain and all those things weren't all together. I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad it was Purple Rain by itself. It was Ice Cream Castles by itself. It was Apple 6 by itself. I'm glad they were all separately. And so if I have one knock against Graffiti Bridge, was I like the album, but I would have preferred that Graffiti Bridge would have been all Prince songs, and then the time songs would have been on Pandemonium. That's it. I'll shut up.
Yeah, so actually, I was really surprised when I was on that When Doves podcast, about a month ago.
Mm-hmm. Which is great, by the way. Let's stop. Don't go through that. 2-part conversation. Prof Duff, When Doves podcast. Please check out that interview. It's great. All right, go ahead. What you were talking about?
Thank you. So, I got really clear on what my favorite Prince albums were when Prince passed, at least the top 2. I got really, really clear. But before Prince passed, if you would have asked me, what are your favorite? I was like, it depends on the day. But when he asked me again, now that we're 10 years out, from Prince's passing, and I really did take a minute to really think about it, I was really shocked that Graffiti Bridge is really important to me because there are 3 really important songs on Graffiti Bridge. Whereas if you don't have that album, you don't have these songs. One is Join Repetition, which is my favorite Prince song of all time. It's my number 1. If I could only have one Prince song for the rest of my life, it would be Join Repetition. And then in addition to that, The Question of You is also like a masterpiece.
Yep.
The guitar and all that. And then don't even get me started with Thieves in the Temple. Yes. So that is a really important record. Now, as a soundtrack, I don't really play it as a soundtrack because if I want to listen to Mavis Staples, because Melody Cool is on it, I go play her album. If I want to listen to The Time, I go play Pandemonium. And, I don't like the version of Round and Round that's in the film. There's another version of Round and Round that I love, where the music is totally different, that I really wish that they would have gone with. So it's a really, really important record. I'm not a big fan of Release It by the Time either. Like, I love Pandemonium. In fact, Pandemonium is probably my favorite time. It is my favorite time record as a record, like from beginning to end. Obviously, What Time Is It? 7779311 is my favorite time song of all time. And I Don't Want to Leave You is also very, 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 very special to me. But as an album, I'm sticking with it. Right. So I think Graffiti Bridge would have been better off with the Purple Rain treatment of let's just be very, very discreet and distinct to each of those albums. And if you were to remove all of the soundtrack parts and just focus on the album, one, you could have gotten grand progression on there, even though he probably wouldn't have wanted on there since he went with Still Would Stand All Time. But at the very least, it would have been nice to have gotten it as a B-side, even though I don't think it shouldn't be a B-side. I think it should have been on an album proper. That's just me.
So, yeah, and I agree. And so, AJ 1324, yes, I'm with everything that Prof Duff said and Elephants and Flowers. Like, I'm a big, like you said, it's funny you go back and think, man, my Graffiti Bridge staying? Because it really is. I really love the songs on Graffiti Bridge. So yes, Elephants and Flowers. And to Man Ray 10, the answer is yes, but I'm greedy. So not only would I have wanted the Graffiti Bridge songs on Pandemonium, I would have wanted the Corporate World songs on Pandemonium. So I'm greedy. Like, I want a triple album, Man Ray 10. So not just a double album. I would have wanted them to clean out the vault and have everything on there. And just to your point, I see some people give a little. Let me just give a moment of silence to the monster that Thieves in the Temple is. I mean, I don't think that song gets enough love.
No, it does not.
It's Thieves in the Temple for me was one of them songs, and I hope people understand what I'm trying to say, that 3, 4 or 5 years after your peak, you still putting out monster jams. Like, that's one of, like, Thieves in the Temple for me is one of those songs that, yeah, y'all all about that. Yes, Edgar. The performance on Arsenio Hall, that's the one I listen to. I actually like the studio version too, but I love the Arsenio Hall with the MPG. But Thieves in the Temple for me, and now here's what's gonna be sad. You know what my favorite outside of the album, my favorite Thieves in the Temple version performance is?
Uh-oh.
It's the Rock in Rio one.
Really?
It is not the one. I do not like the one on Act 1. Act 2. I don't like. I didn't really like it for Diamonds and Pearls. I didn't like that arrangement. The looser kind of freeform jam in Rock in Rio, I really love that version better. So, but just as the song, I don't think that Thieves in the Temple gets enough love. And yes, Mary 10, I want that plus the corporate world. That's it. I'll shut up.
Yes. So Erica has this comment way back that I missed, and I think it's great. Again, like, this is what I love about being in the Prince community. Like, when we don't agree, like, it's so nice to know that someone thinks that Graffiti Bridge is a proper soundtrack, that they really like that it's a proper soundtrack. And I'm not mad at Edgar, because I'm the exact opposite. Like, I would have rather it not be a soundtrack. But Edgar and I, we're still friends. This is not going to diminish our relationship in any way, even though we're like wildly on different sides of this fence.
They ain't gonna stop talking.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna block each other online.
Yeah, I don't understand why people get so upset. I think it's really fun when you find out that your least favorite song is someone's like favorite, and so on and so forth, and just lets you know that people connect with it. I love it.
You know what it is. I think that art speaks to people on such a personal level that if you dislike that art, to that person, it feels like you dislike them.
Yeah.
And I think what people have to understand is that no, my dislike of that song or that movie or whatever is not my dislike of you. It's just I would say only time I had that, I was ever taken aback. And I wasn't angry, I was just taken aback because I'd never been around anybody like that. It was when I started getting out and I started running into Prince fans who hated Adore. And I was just kind of like, you do? Like, I mean, like, and for those of y'all in the chat who don't know, there are actual longtime Prince fans, they hate Adore. And whenever I would meet them people, I would go, you mean the dude who wrote Do Me Baby? You didn't like you do know he wrote Do Me Baby, right? Like, how could you not expect a song like Adore from the dude who wrote Do Me Baby, right? But that was when I went like, you know what? Not everybody come to the party for what I came for. Like, and I know I say this a lot, I'll end on this. Prince understood that human beings are pie charts with multiple slices. And what I had to realize is there are so many slices in Prince's artistry that there are people coming in the Prince world for things that I would have never guessed people would have come in the Prince world. And that's cool and that's fine because at the end of the day, it shows just how talented Prince was. Okay, I'll shut up for real this time.
So, welcome. So, Andre, like, for me, first of all, Melody Cool is on Mavis Staples' The Voice. Mm-hmm. But even though that was released like 3 years later.
So what we'd have done is we'd have made him release Melody Cool earlier. That's what we'd have done.
Yeah, that's what we would have done. And then like for, I guess they would have just been standalone singles. That didn't really happen back then, but I think, Prince was always doing inventive things. He could have just like released them as 12-inch singles or something like that. I don't know. That's a really good question. I had never really thought about it that way.
I will say this, which is made me think about how sometimes it is important for stuff you like to be popular.
Mm.
So Graffiti Bridge is out,
Mm-hmm.
and it's tanking, and everybody talking about what a terrible movie it is, right? I was surprised. I'm walking through the mall, and they were playing Round and Round, and I was surprised at how happy I was they was playing that song. and I have to admit, probably because I was a little sad and miffed at how the movie was being panned, and so this is the princess falling off, and right, Prince can be written off, and yet at the same time this is happening at the mall, Round and Round is being played. But you know what that made me realize? Here's what it made me realize, and I know you're gonna look at me and say, "Stupid, you should have realized this before then." But that moment made me realize that Prince's music is bigger than anything else he does. And that him having a bad movie or him having a bad something, and I should have known that because, you, me, and two other people, the only people who loved Under the Cherry Moon, right? But even though the movie was panned, Prince's music was never panned, right? And so, but that I will admit, it took hearing Graffiti Bridge, and people forget Graffiti Bridge was actually played on the radio a little bit. So that was the moment when I realized, like, oh, okay, so him not doing as well with movies, because I was worried that people not feeling the movies was gonna have some kind of residual effect, and it did have some effect on his music popularity, but it made me realize that the music could survive even the movies not doing as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. So one of the things I want to say, and I'll leave it alone, because I really love this comment from Melvin. Art and music is deep and personal. But one of the things I try to tell my students is that if you create something, you have to kind of divorce you have to divorce your emotions from that thing. Like once you put it in the world, it becomes something else, and that you can't take it personally if your work is being critiqued, and it shouldn't be a reflection of who you are as a human being. That's the reason why, and I've gotten into many debates about this with some of my dear friends, is that I can separate art from the artist. And I know a lot of people cannot. And so for me, the art, it can be judged separate from the person. And I know I'm saying something massive that probably Celie disagrees with. I don't know for sure. But I personally can do that separation, because like for me, if you are an artist, you cannot be like, I know that Erykah Badu's, I'm sensitive about my art. I get it. I understand it, but I don't think that you should be, because once you put it out in the world, it's going to become something totally different, and people are going to perceive it, like it or not like it. And so I try to tell my students that you cannot be so attached, that you cannot put who you are as a person, you cannot attach that to the outcome of something that you put out in the world, because you just don't know how people are going to take it.
So I'll show you that I agree with you through an example. So my first two books was a collection of poetry and my Prince book, right? The guy wrote, he didn't just write this, he wrote and said,
oh no.
He says, Celie McInnes's poetry is so bad that it made me physically ill, and I didn't know how I got through the whole book. About a couple of weeks later, he and I were at an event together.
Oh no.
Dude looked up and saw me, and when I say his eyes got, see, some people in the chat ain't gonna get this reference. When I say his eyes got big as bow dollars, so you from the South like me, you know what a bow dollar is. So when I say his eyes got big as bow dollars, right? So I walked across, because I saw him see me, right? And I walked across the way, and he was standing there, and he was looking like, and I just leaned into him, and I said, hey, player, just close the damn book. You ain't got to make yourself sick reading it. I mean, just close the book. I mean, hey, bro, clearly 3-4 poems wasn't enough for you. Like, and then I just walked off. And then that dude would name, but it was one of those things to where I don't know why it didn't affect me, but that was, I can't make you like my art. and I can't make you like the art that I like. So I'm not going to get upset. What I will do is, what I want to do is understand, because even when people, like if I like something, somebody else doesn't like it, if I can understand why you don't like it, just close the book. If I understand why you don't like it, it may give me some insight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, so there have been songs and things that I liked, and somebody came back and told me why they didn't like it. It actually helped me to have a better understanding of the thing that I liked. It didn't make me stop liking it, but so I think that's what I get from it is, I don't just get into why somebody doesn't like something. I like for you to tell me, why don't you like it? Because it actually expands my ability. And then the reverse of it is, there are times, I remember I said on the show, what I love about what we do here every Saturday is that y'all have made me revisit stuff. Remember I told you, Apollonia 6 was just one song for me, like Sex Shooter, that was it. Like I was just like, I didn't. Now y'all got me up to 4 songs, dog. Y'all got me up to. I went from 1 to 4. And so that's what I like about these conversations is y'all give me insight to it. All right, that's it.
I love this comment from Cynic. He said, "Is that a Dukes of Hazzard?"
No, it is not. No, it is not a Dukes of Hazzard. And if my father was alive. If my father was alive, he would come get. My father hated Dukes of Hazzard, by the way. My father hated you know why he hated Dukes of Hazzard, right?
No.
What's on top of the General Lee?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. and so look. So me and my 2 cousins would be watching Dukes of Hazzard, cheering for Boy Luke Duke. And my father said, got my damn son up here rooting for the damn Confederate flag. My father hated that show. So for those of you who don't know, hey, Bo, look, Sanique can't take it there. Please, what the hell is a Bo Dollar? So a Bo Dollar, for those of you who don't know, is a coin that's either $1 or a 50-cent piece. So when you hear Bo Dollar, right, it's either it's a coin that is worth 50 cents. And then sometimes they had a coin that was actually worth $1, but that's what a Bo Dollar is. It's a 50-cent piece. So it's a coin that's worth, instead of being like you have a quarter, so a Bo Dollar is 2 quarters in one. It's a 50-cent piece. That's what a Bo Dollar is. Like, so Nick couldn't take it. What? You know who needs to be here, right? You know who needs to be here, right? Brother D, so he can be laughing at us with our damn crazy ass Southern references. I love seeing Brother D's face when we get real. So he's like, these country ass Negroes. So, Brother Dean, you missed out on another Southern reference, baby.
Okay, so I'm gonna say something a little controversial, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I think it's important. So I'm actually looking up Dukes of Hazzard real quick. Okay, so Dukes of Hazzard, I can't believe it came out so late. 1979 was the first season. So I would have probably been 8 years old when it came out. I lived in rural Alabama. And see, Lee, all I saw were Confederate flags. And to be honest, I thought it was literally like the flag for Alabama.
Right.
Like I never understood the history behind it. So when I was watching Dukes of Hazzard, I just thought, oh, this is a symbol of the South because I was so young and I didn't know like what it meant because I was surrounded by, Confederate flags in Alabama, particularly in rural Alabama. So it's funny, like when and we've talked about this before, there was a point when Outkast and Goody Mob tried to reclaim the Confederate flag. And because we're all the same age, I think it's because I'm sure like me, when they were growing up, they didn't know the history because it was just like everywhere. Right. So it's first, someone in the South or someone who understands the history, you might think what I'm saying is like blasphemous, right. But only if you grew up in the South and not having, like, we didn't have history classes in the South about the South.
Right.
That wasn't happening in school.
So I took Mississippi history in the 9th grade. So I took Mississippi history in 83, right? We got a new Mississippi history book. We still had the old one. Do you know what the 1982 Mississippi history book called the Civil War? They called it the War of Northern Aggression. And they taught the Civil War that the North invaded the South and upset Black people. So people don't understand that from the Civil War through to the 80s, in the South, there was a retelling, a repositioning of what the South was by those people who were upset that the South had lost. So unless you were somebody like me who had a father who was arrested in the movement, you have to understand, my father, when I joined the National Guard in college, my father was upset because the National Guard were the people who arrested my father. In fact, when I joined the National Guard, because he wanted me to join the military, when I joined the National Guard, my father, exact words was, when they started letting N-words in the Guard. That was his, because he had been arrested by the National Guard. So if I don't have a grown Black man who was arrested in the Civil Rights Movement, looking over my shoulder, seeing the General Lee and knowing what that is, because what Prof. Duff is right, the Confederate flag was everywhere.
Everywhere.
And if you didn't go to a school, again, the Mississippi history that we got, or the Alabama history that you got, unless you knew civil rights people, and I was just one of those people who was fortunate to be raised around. My friends didn't know these things. I would talk to my friends about it. Like you said, 10, 11, 12 years old. It was just the whole thing about the Confederates, like Ole Miss. They were the Ole Miss rebels. They were Confederates. A lot of people didn't see anything wrong with that. A lot of Black people who would go and play at Ole Miss didn't know something was wrong with that because they didn't know the real, because it had been sanitized. That's the word I wanted, sanitized. So yeah, and so to your point, when Outkast and I remember there's a rapper, David Banner from Mississippi. I remember when they all tried to reclaim the Confederate flag, and I was one of those people only because I had my father, oh, please don't do that. But I get it because, again, that was the only flag you knew.
Yeah, it really was.
So yeah, I'm with you on that. That's it. And that's how people don't understand how it can be funny and sad at the same time, because you just don't know. It was funny seeing my father mad about the General Lee. It was hilarious.
All right. So we're going to read our second date, if you don't mind, Sheila E, and it's Thursday, March 20th.
All right. Let me get my... Yeah. There we go. All right. Let me get this. Thursday, March 20th. And that says what? Tracking mix and how overdubs mix. Galpin Boulevard Home Studios, Chanhassen, Minnesota. Producer Prince, artist Prince. Engineer Susan Rogers. Let me turn the page.
We're skipping the quote.
Okay, skipping the quote. All righty. For Prince, he wanted to have multiple places to record because once he had the music in his head, it was vital to transfer it to tape where it could live without the risk of it fading away. And almost every session had that urgency. Make me remember. I want to remember a Langston Hughes quote. So remind me when I get through, because that reminds me of a Langston Hughes quote. He would just go in, record, and then it would be mixed, end quote, according to Susanna. There was no stopping. He wouldn't stop until it was done. Each song had to be complete. And it would be a 24-hour period, sometimes 36, but he would never sleep. It would just get done, end of quote. For today's session, he gathered many of the people from the current live lineup to record a new instrumental. Prince was expanding his sound, although the roots of his composition can be traced back to the opening piece of music on Sheila E's Romance 1600 album. Using almost the same lineup as the previous day, Lisa on piano, Matt Fink on keys, Bliss and Leeds on horns, and Wendy on bass, they created a fast-paced song that lasted less than 2 minutes. Atlanta Bliss explained the way Prince would write during sessions like this. Quote, Prince works with his musicians, and a lot of the time he was singing a line to us and we were playing, and he would say, well, no, okay, now let's try it like this. He would feed from our personal playing and develop it from that. what he is writing, when he is writing a song, he is developing in our sense also. That's the way the Duke Ellington wrote. That's the way the Duke Ellington wrote too. He wrote for his orchestra. The song's title comes from a comment Prince made once the band had finished the tape. In addition to recording, and that says what, it is likely that Prince had Miko Weaver, Wally Safford, Jerome Benton, and Greg Brooks add backing vocals. Background vocals to And How on this date. Once the session was over, Prince left for Los Angeles. Status. And that says what? 1 minute 45 seconds remained unreleased during his lifetime, but it was included in the Sound of Time Super Deluxe Edition in 2020. Prince left for Los Angeles after the March 20 session. At some point in March, Wendy, Lisa, and Susanna worked on a new track, Honeymoon Express. Wonderful song. Quote, this is Susanna talking. Wendy and I wrote it months before the release of the Wendy and Lisa debut record called Susanna. In fact, this was a track that neither Wendy, Lisa, or myself would have known that in only a few months down the road would find its way on the first Wendy and Lisa record. Although he reportedly enjoyed Honeymoon Express, Prince decided not to release the song. So, two things. What's the thing I wanted to say? And How reminds me of light rockabilly. Although it's hard for me to say that because the only time I've heard it in the most god-awful bootleg I've ever heard in my life. So I've only heard And How in that god-awful bootleg.
You said you wanted a Langston Hughes quote.
Oh, yes. When the whole point of Prince writing down things or keeping studios around him. I was so glad when I was 17 and I heard Langston Hughes talking on a record. And he said, this is one of my favorite quotes about creating. Langston Hughes said that poems are like rainbows. They are beautiful creatures that leave you quickly. And the moment I heard that quote, I spent the rest of my life propped up walking around with a pad and a pen. I'd never go anywhere, but it was because at 17, I heard Langston Hughes say that. And he was right, because up to that point, I would have ideas and think, oh, I'll come to it later, and it would be gone forever. And I'll just end this with a little side note. I wrote a poem years ago. This was before I started typing my poem, so I was writing in hand, and it's called What My Uncle Say. And it was a poem where I was making fun of my father because my father was a hip cat who felt like he had to be upright around his son. So the poem was essentially my father giving me good advice and then my uncle giving me the slang street version of the good advice. Everybody loved that poem. When I would travel around the country, people loved that poem. I would get standing ovations for that poem. My father hated that damn poem because by that time he had gone from a street dude to the first black person to lead the Mississippi Democratic Party. So going from the street dude to the first person to lead the Democratic Party, I looked for that poem and I lost that poem, Prof. Duff. It was only 3 years after losing that poem that I realized what happened to it. My father finally told me what happened to that poem. When my grandmother died, my father put that poem in the casket with his mother. But I never, because he thought I had a typed version. So he said, well, what happened to that poem? I said, well, I lost it. What do you mean you lost it? I said, well, I had the handwritten version, but I never got a chance to type it. And he looked at it, like a look came over his face, like, oh, I effed up. He said, son, I put that poem in your grandmama's casket. So I understand Prince's point. And for me, it was Langston Hughes' quote about poems and rainbows, that to say that to people in the chat, there you go, for the cloud, that if you are creative, you want to keep everything with you and keep yourself where you can always get the idea down. That's it.
All right. So I've never heard this And How and Fun Love, Low Quality.
They're awful. They're awful. You can kind of hear them, but they're awful. Let me tell you how they are worse than. So one of my favorite boots is New Morning Paris with Honest Man. They're worse than that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're on our last very short but very important date, which is Saturday, March 22nd, 1986, a Love Bazaar live overdubs and mix. Man, that song rocks. I listened to it again and I didn't even want to come on live because I wanted to play it over and over and over again. I love that performance of a Love Bazaar from the Warfield with Sheila E. Sunset Sound, Studio 3, 11 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Book locked out. Producer Prince, artist Sheila E. Prince scratched out. Engineer Coke Johnson, quote, he had a live recording and we brought the 24 track tapes back to Sunset to fix them up. I'm so grateful for that live recording. Prince spent the session overdubbing and adjusting the audio mix for his live duet with Sheila on a Love Bazaar, which had been recorded at her recent concert in San Francisco's Warfield Theater. The new mix will be featured in her upcoming Romance 1600 live video. Now, a couple of weeks ago when we originally talked about this, I listened to the entire Sheila E. concert. I didn't watch it, but I listened to it because I hadn't listened to it in a while. And when it got to a Love Bazaar, and I was like, this ain't a Love like this isn't a live Love Bazaar live. And I mean, obviously I knew it was overdubbed and everything, but it is so funny how much this session today really boosts the energy of the song. And I really want to do like sometimes what I do is I'll take like a digital audio workstation and I put like the original version on one track. And I did this like with It's Gonna Be a Beautiful Night, like the original. And then I put like the one, you know, that we know and love. And I would go back and forth between the two to figure out like what exactly. So I still need to do that for a Love Bazaar, because when I was listening to it, I was like, this ain't Love Bazaar live, even though it is. So I'm curious particularly about the guitars. In fact, you know, like, is Prince adding any rhythm guitar, or is he boosting like Wendy or Miko in the mix? Like, I really would love if someone would do like a breakdown of the overdubs and mixing for a Love Bazaar. I guess I could, but I'm doing too much. I got the symposium coming up. I'm doing this every week. So if somebody wants to take the lead on that, I would all ears, because I really want to hear that.
I will just add to that. What's up, Big Sexy?
What's up, Big Sexy?
But cut down that tree, that oak tree. I will say that for me, that, because by the time we get to Sign of the Times, I had already had my heart broken when I found out how much Kiss Alive had been overdubbed. So, like, because you know, like, because I was much younger then, right? I was like, what? And, you know, and my uncles them, like, it was like they couldn't wait to tell me Santa was dead. Like, hey, you do know? Like, I was like, I mean, you know, and to this day, the one time nigga I think about my uncles, you should have seen how happy they were to tell me how much overdubbing was on the Kiss Alive album, right? So by the time I get to this and I get to Sign of the Times, I'm not as heartbroken and that. But yeah, like you said, you do when you can compare them side by side. But I will say this. Sound quality notwithstanding, I think in these two with the Sign of Times, and I think that the integrity of what was done live holds up, if that makes sense.
Say it again.
That although they punched up some things,
yeah,
I think they stayed the integrity of that actual performance is still there, right? They didn't do some things to where it's no longer that performance, if that makes sense. No, so I'm cool with it if you punching up some stuff, but I still get the integrity of what you're selling me as this night or this thing. And that's what that was always cool for me.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so we are almost to the end. How are we doing? We're doing great on time. All right,
Kim is still out there. Yeah, Kim, we about to be through for 2 hours.
Oh, we still got some time. So we're going to ride this out to 2 o'clock. All right. So far in 1986, Prince has had 38 studio sessions total. If I did my math right, I need somebody to be double checking behind me. And 18 new songs total. And this week, again, 3 new songs, And How, Power Fantastic, and That Says What. And you can see all the other songs. We started off this year with Love and Sex version 2. Tricky from Under the Cherry Moon at the time one, and then all the Flesh stuff and all that. Okay, so I just want to remind everyone, if you haven't had an opportunity to check out this fantastic fan edit by my frenemy, I'm just kidding, by the amazing Edgar Krauser, you can go to Crucial channel to watch it. I really love that edit. I really, really do. And for those of you who are going to be out in Los Angeles, I would love to be with you. Jerome is doing a 40th anniversary film screening of Under the Cherry Moon, hosted by Jerome and moderated by Dr. Funkenberry. And that is going to be on Friday, April 17th in Los Angeles. Also, Maite is doing a charity benefit. Also out in LA, I just found out about this, so I don't have much additional information, but it's a benefit for charities. Maite, and then on the East Coast, we are going to be celebrating Under the Cherry Moon and Parade for 3 days. And I am so thrilled to announce that Laura LaPuma will be talking to us about this particular era. And I know Michael Dean has already interviewed her, but after interviewing Mr. Glenn Parsons, I really want to interview Laura myself, because Laura and Glenn and Margot Chase are the reason why I have a BFA in graphic design, is why I wanted to become a designer. So this is a huge deal for me personally that she said yes. So I'm very excited about this conversation. So that's going to happen on Friday. And again, Friday is going to be all online, and this will be happening on YouTube. In fact, if you go to my YouTube channel at Polished Solid, it's at the top, so you can already set your calendar, reminder, notifications, and all of that. Hope that you'll join us for that conversation. And we'll have presentations from the amazing Edgar starting us off for the day. And yeah, and then we'll have a roundtable from our international peeps, including Lee Christian, who's also in the chat with us. So I'm very excited about our online day. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we will be in person in Brooklyn, but it will also be live streamed because several of you requested it, and I was able to raise the funds to make that happen. So it will be live streamed. And for those who will be in New York or in the Tri-City area, please come out and support Law. He will be performing at the Cutting Room. So if you want some live music to celebrate Prince and the symposium and all of that, he's doing his own thing to align with mine, which I'm so appreciative of. Please support Law. He is an incredible musician. It will be worth every single penny because he gives it 1,000%. Like, no one has energy like Law. So I hope that you'll come out and support live music. And then in May, Steve Park is going to be in conversation with Maite and B. Moore, also known as Baltimore, on May 5th at the Central Library. I cannot wait to get my hand on this book. There's also a deluxe version. So if you haven't pre-ordered, you might want to do that because a new photography. I love the photography books. So I'm really, really looking forward to this one. And there will be another Prince conference happening in Minneapolis. I don't have anything to do with this. So if you have any questions, please contact IC4PScontact@gmail.com, which stands for the International Center for Prince Studies. I really hate that I can't make this one because I have to run my another generative AI event for NYU at the same time. So I'm really bummed about that. And celebration will be happening that same week. And I don't know if I haven't checked just to see if the early bird tickets are still on sale. I know that the VIP tickets were sold out, but the general admissions were still available, but I haven't checked that recently. So if someone can tell me, that would be great. And again, because this always happens, I know the VIP tickets are sold out for the early bird tickets, but for a while, there were still general admission tickets. So I don't know if that's still the case. So if anybody can do some Googles real quick and figure that out, that'd be great. And for those of you who were not with us at the beginning of the hour, because we got time, Kim, and that is because, you know what? I wonder if Steve Park's new book, I think definitely the deluxe version with the two volume set will definitely be as heavy as the Icon book, but the Icon book is very, very, very heavy. It's even heavier than Duane's book, so extremely heavy. The only book that why am I blanking? There is another Prince photo book that is just as large as the Icon book, but the photographer's name is escaping me, and I feel really bad about that. Thank you so much, Carol. So yes, there's still early bird sales for the general admission. So if you're thinking about it, I would suggest, if you can swing it, to go ahead and get it, because I think they're going to go up like $200 or something when the early bird is over. And so today we're celebrating 20 years of 3121. And again, the Prince Estate has released a live version of Lolita. I'm just recapping in case you weren't with us at the beginning. And what I really want to promote is Ruth is going to be in conversation with DJ Rashida. And Ruth was Prince's right-hand woman during this particular era. So it's really important to hear directly from Ruth. It's an amazing period. And it is to benefit Addie Durant. And we've been talking about Addie Durant for a while. And she was heavily involved in the Purple Rain audio performance on Clubhouse that fans did during COVID. It is really extraordinary. So we want to support Addie, and Ruth definitely wants us to support Addie. So if you can, donate whatever you can. It can be $1, it can be $5, anything to help Addie get back on her feet. And we Michael talked about this last week, and Rich Benson's wife unfortunately passed away really quickly. So if I haven't checked to see if the GoFundMe is still up, I'm assuming that it is. Please help with the funeral expenses. Sarah Savoy posted this. And then Troy is still battling cancer, unfortunately, as well as Dr. Funkenberry. So, oh no, not Afshan Shahidi's book. It's because that's a small book. Compared to, it's the same size as the Icon book. It's also not Alan Bolio's because it's also a very small book. I'm talking about a book that is just as big as the Icon book. Where is let's see. Maybe I'll try to figure it out really quick. But let me see what else we got on here. And then we have a GoFundMe for Des Dickerson as well. And I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm trying to see if I can figure it out. And Randy St. Nicholas, that book. If you know Randy St. Nicholas's book is just as big as the Icon book. Yes, you're right. Woman photographer. Yes, Randy St. Nicholas. Thank you so much, Sister Charles. Yes. Jason Draper's book is not, I mean, it's big in size, but I'm talking about not only big in width and height, but also in volume. That's what it's really about, the volume in addition to that. And that is Randy St. Nicholas. All right. And this is the playlist. I'm going to add some more stuff on here, like Round and Round from Arsenio Hall, and the Fury from SNL, and the BET Awards, and all sorts of stuff. These in the Temple for Rock and Rio. I got to add all that stuff. to the playlist for those of you who may not have seen that. But one thing that I hope you notice is that if you have not watched the Love Bazaar live in San Francisco in 1986, you have not lived. You gotta watch that. If you do nothing else, once we get off, please go play a Love Bazaar live. Trust me, 10 minutes, you will absolutely. Yes. So going back, it is actually, I think it's going to be on Ruth's. So if you look at the top, you can see Ruth's Instagram, which is RUTHLESDVA. So if you go to Instagram and type in RUTHLESDVA, that would be fantastic. All right. So where is the 4K version of a Love Bazaar? Cynic is in. Yes, Randy is definitely legendary because Randy not only took amazing photographs, she also did some amazing direction of some of Prince's videos. So Randy is someone that you should definitely become familiar with because she was really important. All right. Thank you for the link because, yep. Yes. Yes. The Draper's book is really, really, really good. Yep. And let me see what else we got. And we got our Ricky Wyatt playlist. If you miss Ricky like I do and you want to hear him sometimes, you can go to the special playlist. And please donate to the Crons and Kaleidos Foundation in memory of Ricky. And the link to do so is bit.ly/the Flesh for the Flesh sessions. And let's see. All right. Thank you, LTKK. Yes, if you don't mind doing some thumbs ups, for the algorithms. It's really funny. Like, I thought last week maybe I would get above 500, but like I'm still in 400. It's like 400 and something with the Arthur conversation. Because those of you who weren't here last week, I wasn't here, but Arthur was here, and it was a really incredible conversation.
It was excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, it really, really was. Thank you for that, El Michelle. And yes, LTKK, the chain mask era is so fire. That's right. And that's when, Randy St. Nicholas was involved as well. Okay, so since Michael Dean is not here with us today, Celie, if you don't mind taking us on out.
So a couple of things. First of all, as always, we want to thank Prof. Duff for curating this space where we can all get together, love on each other, argue like the picnic, argue like it, we argue like we're at the picnic. Some of y'all argue like y'all drinking that dog liquor. Some of y'all argue like y'all drinking that light liquor. It don't really matter whether you arguing on that dog liquor or that light liquor. We love all y'all. We love Uncle and Auntie. If somebody had to walk them to the car and get them home. So you coming back to the next picnic, no matter who you cussed out at this picnic, you still, you the same person cuss somebody out. They coming back to the next picnic. So don't act like you ain't coming back to the next picnic just because you cuss. Oh, just because somebody cuss you out. Don't act like you ain't coming back. You know you coming back. Two things quickly. Brother Saniq, I got it. Thank you so much. I'm gonna check it out this weekend. Also, I'm gonna send you Propped Up. I wrote a review. I wrote a review of Brother Saniq's Once Upon a Time in Minneapolis before I knew who Saniq was. And I'm so glad I gave it a review. So, Brother Saniq, you can know I wrote this in 2020 before I met you. You got an A review. So it wasn't because I knew you and like you. It was because you did great work on it. So I'm going to send that to you. I've been wanting to send that to you. And then also, if you guys have not seen Brother Dean's latest conversation on Podcast Juice, I forget the other brother's name, Prof. Duff, but what they do is they do like a versus.
Okay.
They do 80s Prince versus 90s Prince. And so Michael Dean does 80s Prince. The other brother does 90s Prince. And I'll tell you this, because I'm equally, like, I equally love 90s Prince with 80s Prince. I'm not one of those people who think that 80s Prince is so much better than 90s Prince. And I left this comment. Whoever the brother was, I think you would know him, because I think he come from like the music snobs with Brother Turnbull. Chris Lacey, I think maybe his name. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, Chris Lacey. You know, he's not involved with
okay,
music snobs.
Okay,
but he's a great journalist.
Okay, good deal. So the 90 songs, and I put this down, the 90 songs that he chose, I probably wouldn't have chose half of them, but what I liked is the songs that he chose, you know, I love this. They focus on Prince's lyricism and his diversity. So if you just want to get a good breakdown of 80s Prince and 90s Prince, and not so much what's better, but why should we appreciate both, check out that. And it's not that long. It's like an hour and 30 minutes. So it's not like you have to be there forever. With that said, y'all know what I always say. Tell somebody that you love them, and hug somebody that you love. Tell somebody that you love them, and hug everybody that you love. Because as Prince say, we ain't got much time to be here, and you never know how long you're gonna be here. And so we too old to be having regrets about the shoulda, woulda, coulda. Hey, Brother Ted, good to see you in the chat. So after that, we thank you, Prof. Duff. We thank everybody in the chat. To steal Brother Turnbull's point, the chat is the reason we are here. Thank you, Brother Tudahl, for putting together this great work. And we'll see y'all at the picnic next week with your dog liquor or your white liquor and whoever you cussed out, because we almost halfway through. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.